Okay guys, I want you to see this. This here, if you can see behind me, this is a forest fire. It's coming up down the canyon, and I'll post some pictures on it in a little bit. The amount of visibility is absolutely insane. You can barely see that little mountain right there, right? And it's in person, it's even more, right? The camera kind of does it, but there's all this smoke in the air. And I talk about fires a lot, and I talk about, when I'm talking about handling the root cause of any addictive behavior, I'm talking about putting out the real fire and not the smoke. Here's what I found out. I don't know how true it is, but here's what I found out happened today with this fire. A few days ago, my wife and I saw there was a little puff of smoke up the canyon a little ways. We saw it up there, and apparently it was a lightning strike, and it started a little fire. And the firefighters watched it. Now, I'm sure they're doing their job, and that's what they're supposed to do if it's a natural forest fire or something like that, and not one that somebody else started. So they watched it. The puff of smoke went away. A couple days later, some more smoke started to show up, and then all of a sudden tonight, there's huge, like, cities, towns are getting evacuated. People are leaving. I don't know if we'll have to be evacuated here in the next day or two. I doubt it, but like it might happen. All the way up the canyon, this fire is like billowing, and it's gone everywhere because right at the beginning, instead of handling it right at the beginning, they watched it. They let it ride. And I'm not saying, I'm not a firefighter, so that's probably what you're supposed to do with firefighters, so I'm not picking on firefighters. If one of you is a firefighter, please comment and let me know, because I'm curious. But, you know, they watched it and let it ride, and then it bloomed into this because the wind picked up. This is what happens with addiction all the time. There is some niggling little thought that's picked up somewhere in your life. Something that becomes entrenched about a way that you're looking at yourself, a way that you're seeing yourself. A way that you see the world, a way that you view life. It's some little lens through which you see everything. And that's picked up, and when it's not handled right away, and then the wind kicks up in life, it becomes a kind of like mechanism that starts to take on a life all of its own. And pretty soon, later on in life, you have this addictive pattern that's starting to affect other people. It's rolling down the canyons of your life. People are evacuating like crazy. Literally, marriages, women are leaving, they're taking their kids, there's divorce happening all the way down the middle. All kinds of mayhem is happening because the initial fire wasn't taken care of. All kinds of mayhem. So when I'm talking about handling the root addiction, I'm talking about that. Now, here's what I also want you to see. Reality is being smothered by this root issue. So if somebody's dealing with addiction, they maybe don't even know what the root issue is, but on top of that, they can't even see around them well enough to even perceive reality the right way. They're so clouded by that thought process that what they think they're seeing and what they think they're understanding is way off. They can barely see it. They can't see the distant goal. They don't know that it's possible. They've been burned, quote unquote, so many times in the past that the notion of a possibility of freedom is often like driven out of them. And they're looking at their wife's behavior, their kids' behavior in a way that suggests, oh my gosh, like she's doing this because of this, that, and the other. I can't tell you how many times I've misinterpreted my wife's behavior, including just the other day, and I went and verified with her, like, oh, Jude, that look on your face made it look like, oh, geez, he's got a problem, deal with it. And it was reality. It was like, I'm agreeing because I have the same thing going on in my own head. But I had misinterpreted it because my own thought processes were running. Same thing happens with inside an addiction, and that's one of the reasons why the wives are so frustrated, is because they're trying to help. They're trying to get their husband's help. And the husband doesn't see it that way and sees it as nagging or sees it as something else. And so there's all of this smoke in the air caused by some root issue, or maybe a couple of them, a couple of lightning strikes in life. Or if you're not the type that had some traumatic event, maybe it wasn't a lightning strike, maybe just built up over time and there was some spontaneous combustion somewhere, but something happened, there's a fire started, and because it wasn't taken care of at the beginning, now all of this mayhem is happening all across your life, in every area of your life, spiritually, financially, maritally, in relationships, personally, with health and fitness. Sometimes all kinds of stuff starts to fall apart. Even people losing jobs and stuff because they can't handle and they can't contain the fire anymore. They haven't figured out how to put it out. And the thing is, if you're just throwing water at the smoke wherever you see smoke, it's never going to put out the fire. So you've got to target the root issue. This is what I'm talking about, root issue. I'm kind of taking an opportunity here. But what I'm trying to help you see is, you can throw water at the smoke all day long. You can say that smoke is bad, but smoke, that's pornography addiction. That's drug addiction. That's all the other addictions that are going up. That's the smoke that's telling you there's a fire inside. Throwing water at the smoke might clear the air a little bit. It might. Putting some wind on it might clear the air a little bit, but it doesn't put out the fire. And that's what you have to focus on. That's the only way to make everyone around you safe and to reduce the risk to everyone around you. And it's the only way to reduce the risk to yourself before your whole life goes up in smoke.